Today's cyber picture is moving fast. Active exploits are in the wild. Federal patch deadlines are in play. Ransomware operators are upgrading their tradecraft, and one of the most elusive crime bosses just got named. Here's what defenders need to know and do next. Welcome to the Roundup. We'll keep this calm, direct, and operational so you can prioritize action. The trend lines are clear. Multiple actively exploited vulnerabilities, fresh advisories and patches, and continued pressure from ransomware and extortion. Let's get into the specifics. Microsoft links Medusa ransomware affiliate to zero-day attacks. Microsoft says a China-based financially motivated group it tracks as Storm 1175, known for deploying Medusa ransomware payloads, has been using both end-day and zero-day exploits in high-velocity campaigns. The key point is tempo, rapid exploitation of new and recently disclosed flaws, with ransomware capability in the operator's toolkit. This matters because active exploitation compresses detection and response windows. When 0 days are involved, prevention often depends on layered controls rather than immediate patch availability. Defender takeaway: accelerate patch pipelines for internet-facing and high-impact services. Enable virtual patching and compensating controls where needed, and tighten external exposure to only what's necessary. Enhance monitoring for post-exploitation behavior consistent with ransomware staging, and be ready to contain quickly. Germany doxes Uncan, head of RU ransomware gangs Revil and Gandkrab. German federal authorities named 31-year-old Russian Daniil Maximovich Shikin as the individual behind the handle UNKN, also known as Unknown, stating he headed Gandkrab and Revil and helped carry out at least 130 acts of computer sabotage and extortion in Germany between 2019 and 2021. Alongside 43-year-old Anatoly Sergeyevich Kravchuk, authorities say the pair extorted nearly €2 million across 24 attacks that caused more than €35 million in total economic damage. The advisory notes these groups pioneered double extortion, and Shikin's name appeared in a February 2023 U.S. Justice Department filing seeking seizure of cryptocurrency accounts tied to Revil proceeds. This matters because the unmasking of leadership erodes the anonymity that shields coordination, financing, and recruitment across ransomware ecosystems. Defender takeaway: refresh ransomware playbooks with explicit double extortion response steps, rehearse data exfiltration detection and leak site monitoring, and incorporate these identities and aliases into threat intelligence tooling to support investigations, blocking, and information sharing. CISA orders fence to patch exploited Fortinet EMS flaw by Friday. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency directed federal agencies to secure FortiClient enterprise management server instances against an actively exploited vulnerability on an accelerated timeline. The headline facts are urgency and scope: actively exploited, management software at the core of endpoint control, and a near-term deadline for remediation. This matters because directive-level action often signals broad targeting or effective exploitation in the wild, and compromise of EMS can cascade into endpoint policy manipulation and lateral movement. Defender takeaway: identify all FortiClient EMS deployments, apply vendor updates immediately, remove public exposure of management interfaces, enforce strong access controls, and review authentication, process creation, and configuration changelogs on EMS hosts for anomalies. If patching cannot be completed immediately, isolate EMS to trusted administrative networks as a temporary risk reduction. CISA adds one known exploited vulnerability to its KEV catalog. CISA added CVE 2026-35616, described as a Fortinet FortiClient EMS improper access control vulnerability, to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, based on evidence of active exploitation. The agency reiterates that this class of flaw is a frequent attack vector and poses significant risks to the federal enterprise, and notes the catalog's role under Binding Operational Directive 2201 in driving prioritized remediation. This matters because KEV inclusion elevates a vulnerability from theoretical to confirmed exploitation, making it a top-tier patching target with time-bound expectations for covered entities. Defender takeaway: treat KEV-listed issues as immediate operational priorities, track closure to completion, and verify mitigation effectiveness with targeted scans and log-based validation. Extend the same urgency to non-federal environments that rely on the affected software. Keelan and Warlock ransomware use vulnerable drivers to disable 300-plus EDR tools. Research shows these operations are leveraging a bring-your-own vulnerable driver technique to silence security tools on compromised hosts, with Keelan attacks observed deploying a malicious DLL named MSIMG32.dll. The key fact is capability uplift, abusing legitimate but vulnerable drivers to undermine endpoint defenses at the kernel level and clear the path for ransomware payloads. This matters because BYOVD can neutralize otherwise effective detections, increasing dwell time and the likelihood of disruptive encryption or data theft. Defender takeaway: enable and enforce operating system vulnerable driver block lists, restrict the ability to load new or untrusted drivers, monitor for unusual driver load events and sudden stoppage of security services, and flag unexpected DLLs like MSIMG32.dll appearing in sensitive paths. Pair these controls with robust application allow listing and least privilege administration to constrain driver abuse. If this briefing helped you prioritize your day, subscribe for the next update, share it with your team, and stay patched, monitored, and ready.